Hi, everybody. Welcome. I am Jenny Guy. I am the marketing manager for Mediavine. You are in our Summer of Live. It's already August. It is actually Thursday, August 1st. It is hot up in here, and we're in the final month of the Summer of Live, and we couldn't honestly think of a better finale theme for our last month than money, which we all love to make and want to make more of. So our mission at Mediavine is to help content creators build sustainable businesses. And one of the biggest ways we work to accomplish this is by creating products and technology and providing education all centered around monetization. And during our year of video, which became the decade of video, we love video, it only makes sense that one of the biggest money makers for Mediavine publishers is, of course, video. We actually can't provide enough video inventory to supply the pre-roll demand from our premium ad partners. That's why we're constantly encouraging all of our Mediavine publishers to make more video. We actually even worked out a special for our publishers with the video creation service Animoto, and we'll be welcoming a rep from that company, from Animoto, to Teal Talk early this fall, so that to look forward to. But we know that even with our custom designed video player, our proprietary ad units, and the super high CPMs that video yields, we are obviously not the only video game in town. YouTube, you may have heard of it, is the second largest search engine in the world now. And my two guests on today's episode of the Summer of Live are here to help you win not only with Mediavine video, but also with the YouTube. I'm going to introduce them now. I'm so excited to have them. I'm going to start first with Meredith Marsh. She is your Video for Newbies BFF. She is VidProMom. She's on a mission to help non-techie people make videos. She's an expert in everything from how to use a GoPro, and seriously, she is an expert. She's got a GoPro enthusiast Facebook group, to video editing. Meredith has a YouTube channel with over 36,000 subscribers and 4 million views. Living out in the woods in New York State with her 2 girls and husband, Meredith's site offers tips for getting started on YouTube, which everyone can use, and how to edit video and what software to get. She's the host of the Video Pursuit podcast and creator of the Video Pursuit Society, a monthly membership program with weekly action challenges to help content creators increase their growth and profitability with YouTube and social video. Hello, Meredith. Thank you for joining me.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I'm very excited about today. You're welcome. Thank you for coming. Okay, my other guest is a knitter, designer, teacher, and YouTube superstar. In 5 years, Kristen McDonnell's YouTube channel has had over 197,000 subs and roughly 320 videos. She also monetizes almost 250 videos through Mediavine on her popular website StudioKnit, making her one of our top video producers. She was selected to train at YouTube LA as part of their Next Up class of 2016. Other accolades include being featured among Best YouTube Channel Ideas for Women by Video Influencers, named among the 7 great DIY YouTube channels to follow by The Daily Basics, and named among Best Knitting Feeds on Instagram and YouTube by Mashfeed, among others. Welcome to our show. Thank you so much for being here. We're so glad to have you guys. I'm excited. We're going to talk all about video. Guys, if you have questions for either Kristen or Meredith, please post them and I will make sure that we get them to them. We can get your burning questions answered. But let's start out just talking about your journey as publishers and content creators. Tell us about yourself, your website, your brand. Let's start with Meredith.
Hey, so I started my blog and my YouTube channel back in 2015. It was a side hustle at a full-time job at the time. And about 1.5 years later, my employer eliminated my job. So I just kind of dove in full-time. And it started out as GoPro Mom. I started creating GoPro tutorials and things. GoPro is a trademark, if you don't know. So I switched to VidProMom at some point. So yeah, shortly into that, I switched to VidProMom, and which was fine. It was actually perfect because I really wanted to incorporate other types of cameras and brands. And I started really with my goal was to help families create videos, like capture their memories and their moments on video. And then it slowly sort of evolved into helping other content creators with video creation and creating the videos, editing videos, and growing on YouTube. So that's where I'm at.
Awesome. And I imagine you've seen quite an evolution in the consumption of video content and the popularity of it in the time that you've been working on that.
Yes, for sure. And now every social platform is a video platform.
Very, very true. And we will talk more about the various social platforms here in a bit. But first, let me hear from you, Kristen. Talk to me about the evolution of StudioKnit and your video expertise.
Yes, absolutely. So I started with my YouTube channel in January of 2014. And how that came to be is I love knitting. And similar to Meredith, I also was an independent website designer, and I had a full-time job as a marketing director here in San Francisco. And it was Christmas of 2013 that we're all saying goodbye to each other, and my sister was packing up, and she had one last thought. And she was working for an MCN at the time, which is a multi-channel network. Mm-hmm. And those aren't as prevalent today, but at the time, they were a really, for YouTubers, that was a really great way to get brand deals and to really leverage a YouTube channel. So I had interest in YouTube and, through her career. And at the last minute, she said, we're looking to round out our lifestyle niche, and you love knitting. If you have any knitting channels that you'd recommend, let me know. And nothing really came to mind, knowing the type of craft influencer they were looking for. And within a couple of weeks, that aha moment happened that maybe I could create the channel that I wish existed. So well, we'll get to equipment later, I know, but I just started with my iPad like that week. That was my first video.
Awesome.
So I'm in my 6th year now. No more clients, no more full-time job. It's 100% focused on Studio Knit. And so it was YouTube. And then, thank God, Mediavine came into my life. And that's why I'm able to do this full-time now.
Oh, yay. I'm so glad to hear that. So it sounds like both of you, because my next question was going to be to follow up and ask how you got started in video, but it sounds like both of you started out with video being a primary, if not the primary source for content that you were creating. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah,
yes, absolutely.
Okay. And so what were your origins in video? Meredith, did you start out as training in video or something like that? Or you just really like video?
I really like video. The first video I created was my kids sledding and creating, they were decorating Christmas cookies, and I just used the GoPro, created this little video, and I showed it to them, and they were like, wow, this is really cool. Like to see themselves in a video on the screen. And I thought, why don't I see other people doing this, like with their families, with their kids? And that's what made me think maybe the reason people aren't doing it is because they don't know how. Yeah. So that's how I started. And so it was a little bit of a hobby that led into, this is an actual niche, and which, that led into the decade of video, as you called it, for content creators. But I don't have any formal background in video. I've never been an on-camera person, which I realize is silly to say as I'm sitting here on camera talking to you with lights and everything. But I was never an on-stage drama type of person, but it just made sense. For what I was going to be creating, it made sense. These should be video tutorials. No one's going to read a blog post on how to create a family video. That just doesn't make sense. So it was a no-brainer for me. And I like to learn things, and I'm kind of a geek and a nerd about stuff like that, like video cameras and software. So I just basically taught myself through YouTube tutorials and figuring it out, trial and error.
Excellent. And very inspirational that it wasn't something formal that you taught yourself. I love that. So Kristen, what about you? I know that you said you recorded your first video for your YouTube channel on your iPad. Is that what you said?
Yes. And I created this cardboard contraption so that it could sort of lay looking down on my hands without being obstructed by anything. And it was really fuzzy and, there were focus challenges. I think my initial inspiration with the video was growing up. My dad was an amateur photographer, and he had the Super 8 camera. And so we had a dark room in the house. And so I would be his little assistant, and he would do these really fun stop motion little clips. And of course, doing it with real film, that was a lot of work.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And but he also, did do the old fashioned where you actually, not layers in Adobe Premiere Pro, but actual layers to create, some of the videos and stuff. So creatively, I was always just had so much fun and was inspired by that. And I love doing little stop motion today, which is really eye-catching, especially on Pinterest right now. Some of my stop motion has been very effective. But yeah, with the video, it's great to hear that you're partnering with Animoto, because before I started my channel as a marketing director, that's what I turned to. I would, get my clients photos. We rarely had video clips. And with the power of Animoto, able to put something pretty slick together for, marketing, or we would do, like maybe a holiday, some kind of like, end of the year wrap up for our clients using Animoto. So I'm interested to see how they are today, because I haven't used them in a while.
Yeah.
And how it'll help creators, because it is so user friendly. So
it's very exciting, and it's one of the ways that we really encourage people who aren't making full-length videos and who aren't ready to necessarily jump in and buy all the equipment and do all of the different things that you guys are into, but a way to capitalize on that monetization, on that strategy. So it's pretty exciting. We're excited to talk more about it, but I want to hear more about you guys. Wait. So Tara Jacobson has a question. She said she sees that Meredith recommends Morning Fame. Can you talk a little bit more about how that helps grow your views, please? First of all, can you explain what that is just really quickly, and then go into that?
Yeah. So Morning Fame is like a keyword research, planning, and optimization tool website, and specifically for YouTube, which I think as bloggers, we're all familiar with keyword research for your blog. And there are some tools like Morning Fame, TubeBuddy, and vidIQ that are specific to YouTube's data. And so, yeah, Morning Fame is one of the tools that I use to come up with the ideas, the video topic ideas that I can look and see, are people searching for this? Is it an active topic or not? Or do I need to reword my title? And then to optimize the title, the description, and the tags before you publish. That's what Morning Fame does. And it works great.
So we just specifically went into some YouTube, but I wanted to talk a little bit more generally about educational resources for video. I know that you both provide some of those, and are on podcasts, and also, but do you have any favorites, any favorite sources and resources that we can share with our audience if they're wanting to learn about creating video and YouTube?
I have a podcast called Video Pursuit Podcast, where I'm basically talking about video creator, blogger, kind of like mushing those two worlds together, since that's what I do. And I have a Facebook group actually called Video for Bloggers, which is a very specific video for bloggers. It kind of self-explanatory there. And I'm always creating trainings and tutorials. I just did a 5-day challenge last week on the fast way to 1K YouTube subscribers. And I think Suzanne is posting links in the comments to different things too. So
awesome. And then what about you, Kristen? Did you find any great resources that you would like to share with our audience?
For the technical side of things, I've just been really like a hands-on, self-taught. But also my time at YouTube was very helpful. And the YouTube Creators channel, I know they go into a lot of YouTube tactics, but I think you can probably find directly from YouTube some tips and tricks there.
Fantastic. All right, so let's get into a little bit of nuts and bolts here. How often are you guys creating new video content? Let's start with Kristen.
Okay, well, for YouTube specifically, once a week. However, I am taking a little summer hiatus. So I'm in my 6th year, and I decided to prioritize. So it's one of those, do as I say, not what I do.
Of course.
Right now for the summer. But if looking towards, YouTube success, once a week regular schedule. You'll hear that time and time again. It is imperative for a few different reasons. And so, yeah, so once a week for sure. And I make sure to blast it out to all of my email subscribers and social and get everybody in on it as much as I can in those first 24 hours.
Great. And Meredith, what about you? How often are you creating video content?
Well, like Kristen, my goal is once a week.
Okay. That's a good goal. That's good.
It doesn't always happen. But one thing, YouTube made me laugh back in April because I think I uploaded one video in April. And at the end of the month, I got a notification that said, congratulations, your channel grew by, like 900 and whatever subscribers. And I laughed because I thought, I didn't even really publish anything, but it still grows. And I think that is like a testament to the longevity of the content you create on YouTube. There's still people watching it 24 hours a day, whether you post every week or not. But it is good to be consistent if you want to grow your audience there, for sure.
So you think once a week is a good goal to set in terms of growth?
Yeah, definitely. I posted once a week for the first 2 years. I didn't miss a week. I felt like it was like exercise. If I fall off and I won't get back on. So yeah. I just made sure to stay on that schedule at first.
Yeah, I've done once a week or more for the first 5.5 years up until now. I let myself have a little bit of break. And, you may have heard of YouTuber burnout. It's because there is this YouTube algorithm that just feels like you have to, do all the things in order to stay relevant and to have that traffic. And, like Meredith said, I am stepping back. I do feel all this guilt, but I'm on YouTube alone. I'm actually, these last 2 months, I've almost doubled my YouTube income and haven't even posted anything. But I would not suggest that if you're trying to grow a channel and starting out. Absolutely, regularity and growing that audience and getting them to, know you and commit to you on a regular basis is really important.
Fantastic. And how often are you sharing or creating content for your websites? Separate from YouTube, uploading through your Mediavine dashboard, things like that.
I'm doing right now. I'm doing 2 blog posts a week.
Okay.
And I then plan to go back and do the videos in the fall. So for me, knitting is very. It's a bell curve that my traffic is really September to March. Like right now in July, nobody's knitting. Well, people in Australia are, but people don't want wool on their laps right now. So I've decided to front load all of this content and just work on it right now and push it out during my high season. And I'm interested to see how that goes because both the CPMs will be higher and the views will be higher. And that first 24 hours that YouTube really does care with their algorithm will be higher. And that also will predict how much they'll be pushing that video out. So it'll be interesting to see if this new tactic of kind of stepping back in the summer a little bit on YouTube helps or hurts.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, we'll talk a little bit about YouTube here in a minute, but let's stay on the track about nuts and bolts for video. Let's talk about equipment. What are your equipment loves? Meredith, you said you were a bit of a nerd when it came to software and equipment. So let's talk about hard stuff. What actual physical things do you love other than a cardboard creation that you made to share for your iPad? Where did you go from there when you started really investing a little bit here? What's the best place to get started with those investments?
Sorry. Who would you like to answer first?
Oh my gosh, this is Sophie's choice. Let's go with Meredith. Meredith, you start this time.
Okay, so my setup is actually pretty simple, and so I use a Canon 70D camera, which is a DSLR camera. I don't even use a fancy lens. It's just the regular kit lens that you can get with the camera, and I have 2 softbox lights. And my videos are primarily usually a talking head video, which is like what you see here. So my setup is really simple. I have a camera. I have an external microphone, not this one, but a different one that's connected to the camera, and 2 lights. But there's no reason why you can't use an iPhone or, like Kristen did, use an iPad if that's what you have. Like, not having a fancy camera shouldn't be the excuse you're using to not do video. So you can just cross that excuse off your list. We can address the next one down, right?
Great.
And for editing, which is, I love to teach editing and I love to do editing, but I know it can be very overwhelming to tackle. And there's so many different options out there. But if you have an iPad, there's an app called LumaFusion, which is fantastic. It's very robust, but it's not complicated. It's pretty simple. And Adobe Rush is also a kind of a simple editing software that you can use on your phone or your iPad or your desktop. I use Adobe Premiere Pro primarily, but that's not really beginner software, but it's something that you can learn.
Great. Fantastic. And what about you, Kristen?
So I went from the iPad to a DSLR camera. I also have I have a Canon HD video camera. For my on-camera, I have 2 soft light boxes, a Diva ring, and I also do some backlighting. And one of the things I learned when I was at YouTube is to have a hair light. So I'm kind of lit in 5 different places when I'm on camera. But primarily I'm top down with my hands. And when I'm doing that, I'm in a totally different room to get the best natural light that I can from sort of in a corner of a room that has 2 windows, and trying to get that really nice soft light without shadows that's natural, because I'm doing really, really close-ups of my hands and these tiny little knitting needles and yarn, and wanting that to take up most of the frame and, be in focus. So that is my setup. And as far as editing, I also do Adobe Premiere Pro, but I started with iMovie. And that was great. A lot of the people that were in the know kept telling me, that I had to, step up my game. And I was like, well, it works. And that's my overall recommendation about all of this stuff we're talking about. And Meredith touched on that too. Use what you have. Don't hold out, to get everything perfect when it comes to your equipment. Use, the lighting source that you have, the microphone. Now I'm using an actual microphone, but for the longest time, I just used my iPhone, the little voice recorder, and that was my voiceover, and I think it sounded fine.
Okay. That's good, and very encouraging that it doesn't need to be an enormous investment to get started, and you can dip your toe in the water with anything that you have, whether it be, the camera that you want or something additional. So I love that. That's very helpful. So let's talk a little bit about how video has impacted your overall revenue. What portion of your ad income comes from video? How are you doing on YouTube? Talk to us about how, because that's, with our theme of the month being monetization and money, we want to talk about how video directly impacts that. Kristen, you can start. You were both just looking at me like this.
So the first 3 years were primarily, the income was YouTube. It was YouTube monetization. That's what I knew. That's what I was completely immersing myself in after my day job, days and weekends, completely immersed in that. And then let's just say these last 3 years is when I always had a blog, but I didn't realize the power of Pinterest until the end of 2016. And within a month of Kate All Simple Pin podcast, of my traffic exploding, then I immediately got accepted into Mediavine. And then the whole game changed as far as my reliance on that YouTube AdSense. There's so many more opportunities. So today, my breakout is the overall pie of my income is 50% Mediavine. And then about the other half is some YouTube, and then I'm really increasing my sales. So I have digital patterns and some physical products. Yeah, so that's what my breakout is right now. And I also this year decided to step away from brand deals. So that was a significant portion of my income. And then this year I decided to step away from that because with Mediavine, there is no ceiling. I've realized there's absolutely no ceiling to how much I can produce and bring in, new followers and the ad revenue. And I just see investing right now in increasing my Mediavine content and videos will not only serve me today, but into the future. And so the brand deals last year, I did a lot. And it was really holding me back as far as like my time, because with brand deals, I wanted to do a wonderful job. And so they always took priority and my content was second. But so I've been very, very happy this year with that choice.
Fantastic. So you mentioned quite a few amazing things in there, but one of them being Kate All of Simple Pen Media, who we've had on a talk. She's fantastic, and I would love to share that. So if my wonderful colleagues could share that quickly, that would be fantastic. And then I'm going to ask you the same question, Meredith. How does video contribute, other than video being the centerpiece of your platform? How does it directly, not just dollars and cents, contribute to your monetization?
I would say for me, as far as ad revenue, it's split between Mediavine and YouTube. They've just always kind of been neck and neck. Okay. To be honest with you, YouTube's been a little higher lately. Okay. but we're talking about two different platforms, so it's not, it's apples and oranges. But and then through my membership program, I would say between my ad revenue and affiliate revenue is probably like 60% of my revenue, and then the other 40 is through my courses and membership program. And I haven't done a ton of work with brands, but like Kristen, I sort of stepped away from that because it takes time to find them, negotiate with them, figure out what they want, create the content, and then change your content when they don't like it. And then it's just, I could put that same energy into other things with the less stress in either make the same or more revenue. So, but I will say though, with the brand deals that I have done, I never have had a brand say, we just want you to write a blog post, except for one time. It's always, hey, we've seen your YouTube channel. We want a YouTube video. Sure. And the blog post is like the secondary. Yeah, that's nice too. But it's always been video for me. And so that has allowed me to, with the brand deals I have done, to charge more for them because I'm doing more work and providing more value.
Absolutely. Video is becoming huge. Yeah. In all of the influencer marketing, those negotiated contracts, video is huge, and definitely something that if you can add to your skill set and you can volunteer to offer that to brands, it's huge. So we definitely agree with that. So let's talk a little bit more specifically about YouTube. So we have a lot of Mediavine publishers who have the idea that it's an either or with YouTube, or monetizing there and building that audience and then uploading their videos to their Mediavine dashboard and monetizing that way through their website. And you guys are using both, obviously. So you both started with YouTube, correct? In that you were building your channels from there. And then what convinced you to upload your videos through the Mediavine dashboard, and how are you seeing those two things balance out? Let's start with Meredith this time.
I was going to say, you're going to have to pick somebody.
So polite. I love it. That's so sweet.
So for me, YouTube's always been like a discovery platform. And so at whatever point, I don't know, a year, 2 years ago when I got on Mediavine, I was like, cool, now I have ads on my site. Awesome. And then I don't know at what point you guys created your video player, or I realized that there was such a thing. And then I was like, oh, maybe I should be doing this too. And I looked at my analytics on YouTube to see if I could decipher how many of my views on YouTube were coming from the embedded YouTube videos on my site.
Right.
Because I was like, oh, if I switch over completely to Mediavine videos on my site, am I going to lose YouTube views? And it's less than like 10% of my views. So that 10% of views doesn't monetarily, it makes more sense to remove those views and be okay with losing them, because I would make more revenue with Mediavine embedded videos.
And are you using you can put that at the end of your videos to have people direct them directly to your YouTube channel. So
yes, I do. And depending on the length of my post, and I should back up and say nowhere, like not all my videos are on my site through Mediavine, because it takes time for me to upload them. I'm working on that. But depending on how long the blog post is, I will put both on there. So that, there's a video at the top, video at the bottom. They're just, one's Mediavine, one's YouTube. And which I think that was something that I think you guys recommended. I think Mediavine recommended that. But yeah, does that answer your question? I don't even remember your question now.
That's okay. It happens sometimes. We'll shift over to Kristen and see how she kind of balances that out.
Yeah, I have a similar journey to Meredith with, starting on YouTube. And then I started my blog before Mediavine. And so I had every single page had, a YouTube embed. And then when you guys announced video, it was like, oh, that's exciting. And so I kind of played around with it. And then just the different ways of monetizing video just kept getting better and better and better. And I would set a significant portion of time aside to take the time to upload all of my videos to Mediavine, and then do all the things that Eric recommends in his videos. And I've been really, really happy. As far as talking money, I make at least so the CPMs are at least twice on average as they are for me on YouTube.
Yeah, we hear that a lot, is that and we don't want anyone to have to choose, because we know, as you said, Meredith, I love that quote that YouTube is a discovery platform. So true. And I think that it's an important place to be seen and to be devoting time and adding your videos and creating content for it. Especially if your emphasis is video, as yours is, and then also Kristen, as you're using video as such a huge part of your content creation strategy. So I think that they're both useful, but as you said, Kristen, the CPMs are, the payout is much higher if you're able to monetize through Mediavine with those videos, but then driving that traffic to YouTube still to grow that channel and to continue both. So we want you to do both. We don't want it to be an either or. And I think what's one of the reasons why I was so excited to have you both on here is because you're killing it both places, which is awesome. So tell us how to be successful on YouTube in 3 minutes. No sweat. I'm kidding. I'm joking a little bit, but not necessarily. I want to know top tips and what you think where people should invest their time if they're looking to become YouTube aces. And we will start with Meredith this time.
Oh, wow. 3 minutes. Stick to a nice, cohesive, related niche at first, which is a little scary for some people, but at first, stick to not necessarily a small niche, but a nice, cohesive, related niche. Create videos that you know for sure that people are searching for. So do your keyword research. Fully optimize your videos before you hit publish. And something that a lot of people overlook is the fact that YouTube wants people to watch YouTube videos. So if you're creating videos that are that people aren't watching the whole thing, or 50% retention is like usually what people are shooting for, YouTube is not going to recommend your videos if people are clicking on it, getting bored after 45 seconds, and then going to watch something else. They'll recommend another video for them to watch, right? Because they want people watching the videos. So if you can plan, script, shoot, and edit your videos in a way that gets to the point, answers the question, shows the tutorial, and really dives into what people are really looking for when they hit that play button. So they keep watching. That's huge for YouTube's algorithm. And a lot of people either forget about it or don't realize or don't know where to look for like that data to see how they're even doing with that.
So you said optimize your videos for YouTube. Talk to me a little bit about that. I'll give you an extra minute.
Okay. So similar to SEO for your blog, but a lot more simple actually with YouTube. You have your title. So you want that to be optimized for the keywords that you are trying to rank for in the search results. And you have your description, which the descriptions can actually be very long. And the description should describe the video, which sounds like a no-brainer, but sometimes people just drop links in there. You know, they have like one sentence and they're like, here's some more stuff to watch. Here's my affiliate links. But YouTube is reading the description. The bots are reading that description to actually see what the video is about. So the more information you can put in there, the better. And then the tags help YouTube to know like what your video is related to, what other videos it might be related to, what other channels it might be related to. And yeah, that's the gist of the optimization.
Excellent. Kristen, same for you. Give us some of those YouTube tips.
So I agree with everything Meredith said, so I'll just add on to that. Additionally, there are some other tools that YouTube has before you hit publish. So I have always done closed captions, and that helps for a few different things. You know, people with hard of hearing. It also helps with translations for other languages. It allegedly helps with discoverability. I've always been skeptical if YouTube really uses my closed captions to help understand the content of my videos, because very few people actually do take the time to do the closed captions. And then there's annotations. So you can put, there's like that little thing that will like slide in at the top right of your screen, and it will suggest, you know, other videos, or you can even go to your own website, to my Etsy shop. And I usually put my first one in, on average, my watch time on average is about 2 minutes. Of course, you know, a lot of people watch all the way to the end, but some people, for my videos, they just want to see like the beginning of it, gives, you know, an overview and, you know, up close to see what the project is and to talk about it. And then I go into the nitty gritty of stitch by stitch by stitch. And if you don't have your knitting needles in your hands, you're not going to be sitting around for that. So those first couple of minutes, right around the time that most people click out, that's when I put an annotation to encourage them to see another video. YouTube wants, if you're looking to grow your YouTube channel, if that's your priority, keep them on YouTube. I'm at a point where I find more value in getting them to go to, you know, sign up on my email list. I have a great personal relationship with people on my email list, or, you know, definitely drive them to my website. Just like with, for me with knitting, similar to cooking and other DIY, I have essential written instructions that people want, and they have to go to my website to be able to get those. And now with the create cards, oh my gosh, I'm so happy to have those create cards as a crafter. So I'm, you know, building those out and, you know, letting people know that they can easily, you know, have that printable version, because before they just had, either I would spend a lot of time creating a beautiful PDF, or they would print out, you know, an ugly website. So I'm driving people to other things. But if your goal is to grow your YouTube channel, all those links in the description, keep them on the platform. Drive them to your other videos, to your other playlists. Also, playlists are another way of optimizing your channel. And YouTube does index those. Google indexes those. So just like with you know, you'll Google yourself and you'll see that, you know, Pinterest is ranking really high. Well, also those playlists rank too. And then at the end, there are these end cards. And I always make sure to have those. So that's where you'll see maybe like 1 or 2 suggested videos. And from my time at YouTube, my partner manager said that she saw really high value in making sure you had, there's different options of what videos you want them to see. And it's like recommended for that viewer. So you're not saying which one you want, but you're allowing that YouTube algorithm to know, okay, well, they haven't seen this video and they've seen these other videos about this certain topic. So maybe this video of hers is one that they'll want to see next. So that's been really helpful.
So it sounds somewhat, well, very much like all the SEO advice that we give, which is kind of controlling that user experience and helping to cater it and helping to anticipate their questions and knowing what they're going to ask next and keeping them on the platform. And then as it sounds like the golden rule for YouTube is keeping them on the platform no matter what. So a couple of things from what you said. We are all about, we have a Mediavine YouTube channel, which we will post this to once it is edited. We keep all of our resources on there. And we are all about closed captions on our YouTube channel. And we use 3Play to do that. And we found that to be highly effective. So, and then in addition to that, tell me a little bit about what types of the YouTube tool, or not YouTube, what type of the tools are you using from Mediavine's player? Are you using our Up Next feature? Ways to kind of control or help cater that experience for your website audience. Oh, sorry, I need to tell someone.
I use the Up Next feature.
Awesome.
Yeah, I do use the Up Next feature. Yeah.
Okay, and how have you found that to be an effective?
I'm not sure. To be honest, I'm not sure. But it works really well on YouTube to have the user be told, here's what you should watch next. Yeah, so
it makes sense.
Yeah.
Kristen, what about you? Are you using Up Next? And
yes, I'm using everything Mediavine says that they have to offer when it comes to video. And I think this might be a good time to share my secret little Mediavine video hack that I have.
Love it. Ding, 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 ding. I wish I had some kind of a graphic that could come in right now, or some special music that could play with the new Press Your Luck game that's on, which I used to watch with my grandma. I wish I could do like a wah wah. But anyway, we have a YouTube, a Mediavine hack for video.
Yes.
Go, Kristen, go.
So, we have our video that we created for YouTube. And like I said, a lot of my videos, and similar with, I know, a lot of cooking and other DIY videos, and I'm sure Meredith's, is where you start with an overview. And then you go into the nitty gritty. And then, you'll have an outro that says goodbye. So for Mediavine, there's the boosted. So you can select which videos you want to be boosted. You can select which videos you want to be sticky. So this is what I do. I cut them into 2 different videos for Mediavine. So I do 30 to 60 seconds of the intro. And that's what I stick at the top as the sticky video. And then the nitty gritty how-to, that's another video, and that is placed further down, closer to the instructions. And so if people really are like, wait, how is that one stitch, created? How does she actually do that? They know that they can go there and they can find that real specific information. But that overview of how beautiful the project is and how inspirational it is, that's what I begin with. And that's the sticky. And that's a lot less time. And then get this, because it's a lot less time, it then clicks over to the next boosted video, which also is only 30 to 60 seconds. Oh, and in between, of course, there's an ad. So then there's
excellent CPM. What do you know about that?
Yeah. So that has been incredibly effective. I sat down and, looked at my top posts. And because it's taken some time, but gone through all of my old videos with my top posts and done that split and taken the time to do it. And I've graphed it out. And it used to be that my YouTube revenue was a little bit higher than Mediavine. And then once I implemented this little tactic, Mediavine revenue overall is a lot higher.
Wow. That's very so it's just a little extra work. And are you optimizing those posts in this way? Are you breaking up your videos like that seasonally? Like, that next season, for instance, we've got fall coming up. Are you going to go ahead and look at your top 10 posts in your analytics ahead of time and know what's coming up and then go optimize in that way?
Yeah. I have with knitting, it's a little different. I definitely do have seasonal specific that, you know, like around holidays for sure. Yeah. So I'll make sure that, you know, my Halloween and Christmas videos are ready for that. But I definitely just, you know, sat down and all the posts that are just king to make sure that I took time to do that. And it really is helping because the CPMs on both videos, but it's the exact same video. And all I did was cut it and then upload it. Yeah.
Broken into 2 different sections. And you've got that beautiful short content that is, and you're getting in between each video, you have a lovely, ad playing through the middle. So if it's shorter, you're getting that to refresh faster. Plus, it's a great experience for your audience to get to see the inspirational, beautiful, this is what you'll have if you stick through and get all the way down to the bottom. I love that.
Yeah.
So smart, Kristen. Okay, so Ann Say told us, I just joined Meredith Marsh VidProMom course, Video Pursuit Society. She says, it's amazing content. So you've got a fan, girl.
Fan.
And Tara Jacobson asked, Kristen, do you know what your click-through is to those end cards? Mine is 2.5%, which seems so low. Wondering if that is something that you can help with tips for.
You know, without looking, I don't know. I haven't really looked at the details of my analytics. So I'm sorry, I don't know if that's typical or not. But if you want to find me offline, I'd be happy to talk to you about that.
Jenny, I pulled up mine because I saw that question for my end screens, and my average is 3.3.
Okay.
So, and I think like one of the things I like to tell people about YouTube, like anything in your analytics, it's really hard to compare to somebody else because it's just, it's a different channel, it's a different audience and everything. So rather than, you know, trying to figure out, is this good or bad, just work on trying to improve it. Like if you're at 2.5, see if you can get it to 3, see if you can get it to 4. And just because that's the only thing you can really compare it to is your history, right? And so that you can improve moving forward. And my top click-through rate, I have 8% if I'm selecting the video that they watch next, which is something, it's like almost the opposite of what Kristen recommended, but it depends how your outro is structured. Because I like to, when I can, to say, if you enjoyed this video, you should watch this one next. Or, you know, if
so giving them a direct CTA, this is right. What I want you to watch.
Yeah.
Next.
And if there isn't a direct call to action there, then for sure do best for viewer, because that's my second most highest type of end screen, is the ones where it's just the choosing for the viewer what's the best one.
Yeah, and I have both. I do both.
Yeah.
Okay. So Tara said, thank you, Meredith. If you'd said 20%, she would have been crushed. 3 is attainable. So I think, again, it's good to reiterate that comparing on these things is so hard. It's the same. We say don't compare RPMs because there's no way. Different niches, different demographics, different seasons, different audiences, even someone who's blogging about the exact same thing at the exact same time. And there really isn't anyone doing that. It's still different. You're still talking those little minute differences that can make huge differences in the results and in the analytics. So speaking of analytics, let's talk a little bit about, as we already said, YouTube, and I know all of our audience, our smart audience, is savvy to the fact that YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world after Google. So it makes sense that spending time on Google, do you call it Google SEO, or do you call it YouTube SEO, or is it is there a different kind of, that's what you call it, YouTube SEO?
Yeah.
Sure, why not? Okay, we'll go with that. YouTube SEO is important, if not, you know, the same amount of importance that we devote to SEO for our blog post. So how do you make sure your videos are found after you post them? And you both have talked about, especially Kristen, about that all-important 24 hours after the video goes live. How do you do keyword research for YouTube to make sure you're creating content that your viewers want? And I will start with Kristen on that one. Will you follow up on that?
Yeah, I do it the same as I do for my blog posts. I go to both YouTube and Google, and a lot of my content's pretty straightforward. Yeah, and then, you know, putting it in the keywords as well as in the written description and the title, and then the thumbnail also is, you know, a highly engaging, beautiful thumbnail, you know, really means a lot. So in Google, people will pull up, and a lot of times they'll be seeing the thumbnails of YouTube. It's not necessarily the words and that will attract them to want to click on something.
Okay. Meredith, any tips from you on that?
I typically will start with my analytics on YouTube to see what I'm already ranking for, and on my site. What am I already ranking for? What are people already searching for and then getting to me, and see if there's any ideas that I can pull out of that are related. If I already have that Google juice, then let's get some more Google juice,
Yeah.
And I do, like I already mentioned, Morning Fame, and I do my research and optimization using Morning Fame. One of the things I like about it is I can do all that research and then save it, so that when I go to publish the video, my title, description, and tags that I've already researched and set up and optimized, I can just copy and paste them right into YouTube. And so TubeBuddy is also really great. It's a free Chrome extension, and you can just use quickly, like in 10 seconds, you can type in a search term and see if it's aligned with what people are searching for or not, or, rejigger your words around. And yeah, so that's TubeBuddy, which is it's a free Chrome extension. So at the end of the day, it's really just about aligning, here's my video topic and here's what people are searching for, and just making sure that they line up.
So is there value to, in the way that we do on, so we have a story that we talk about when we talk about writing those related blog posts and kind of owning a term. If we have the parboiling story, which we talked about, going into your Google Search Console, finding that we're already ranking for parboiling, and then writing all of the different parboiling posts that are surrounding it. Is that something that works for YouTube as well?
Yes, for sure.
Okay, so you highly recommend, if you're already doing extremely well with one keyword, going and creating related content.
Yeah. Yeah. So that way your videos show up, like, no matter what they're searching to do with parboil, it's like they just keep seeing your face over and over again. That's a good thing. You want that.
This person owns parboiling. Are there any terms that, just out of curiosity, are there any terms that you guys own, either one of you?
Mine is knit stitch pattern, both on Google and on YouTube. And okay. I had no idea going into my channel that would be something that people would find such interest in. And it's definitely exploded my traffic big time. And there's no end to the type of content I can do. And I can do all very different, very beginner, very advanced. But that search term, thank God, Google has loved, and that's really helped with my blog traffic. And but even before that, when I was only YouTube, I realized, oh, people are really responding to this. And I wasn't, doing that savvy strategic SEO keyword searching, in the first 3 years. I was just making videos that were fun, and then looking at comments. And, the comments, that also is a big, it's a way also to research what's going on, because people will tell you if they like it, if they don't care. They'll tell you everything you want and everything you don't want to know.
They're like elementary school children, the audience on YouTube. Good to know.
Yes. But yeah, listening to what the audience is responding to has really helped inform what my content should be.
Excellent. How much content, Meredith, have you had the same experience? Are there any terms that you own?
I'm trying to think, and I don't think there's nothing that jumps out at me as being something that I own.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll work on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm all about goal setting, so that's great. And speaking it into existence. So you will own a term, Meredith. You will own a term soon. So how much content have you created, Kristen, around your own term? You said there's no limit. Is there can you just create and create and create? Is there a ton of stuff that you've created?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure. I don't know what the numbers are, but let's say probably at least 50% probably revolve around that term. And then once I did realize that Google and YouTube loved it so much, and that I just, even if I wasn't trying, I was just ranking at the top and, outperforming the big guys on it. Then I realized, oh, maybe I can monetize this further. So I have a digital pattern book that does very well of knit stitch patterns. And I'm working on a physical one because YouTube audience, by and large, was skewing much younger. And now that I'm more into the blogging and Pinterest, I'm skewing a bit older now. And so I have a lot of older people that want that physical look instead of the digital. Yeah, so I'm working towards that right now.
Awesome. Love it. So taking the SEO success and the SEO research and making it physical, that's really incredible. So you mentioned a little bit, Kristen, that Create has been a game changer for you in terms of the way that you're creating your content and showcasing it. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, well, it's still pretty new. When did it launch?
So we had the beta testing going for quite some time, but we formally launched Create in October of 2018.
Okay. So yeah, so I started then. I don't think I was in the beta. And it's time consuming, but I'm able to what I do now is is my email blast. So even though I'm stepping back a little bit from YouTube this summer, I'm very consistent with my email blast, and it just spikes my traffic every Saturday, big time. And it's a great bonding relationship. And I am actually putting the Create link into my email. So I'm letting people know, here's the blog post. And, in the blog post, you'll see beautiful pictures, you'll see video. I'll talk more about it. But if you just want the down and dirty printed instructions, or recipe for how to create this, then you can just click from my email, because you're my, valued email subscriber. Then you can just click and immediately print it. And people are really responding. Now, the CPMs are much lower on that for me. And I'm noticing that my teal numbers are a little bit less when I really drive
through your,
but I'm encouraging them to, as a, relationship builder, and something that, where they continue to see value in being on my email list. And then that's freed me up from making those beautiful PDFs that also were taking a lot of time on a lot of space on my server. And so it's been really nice to be able to allow people to have that, immediate printable
for you. That's like a recipe card, but now you've got the Google how-to schema that's going on now. I'm sure that's exciting to know that you have even more chance now to rank in those in the search results with their how-to schema. That's exciting.
Absolutely. And you know what, Jenny, before we started, we talked about the Chicago Mediavine conference. And I gotta say, so Eric was on stage.
He was.
And he was talking about the Google schema, and he used Studio Knit's knitted heart, 5 best knitted heart schema as the example of one that's working really well. I was cheering in the back. So I was happy to see that even Mediavine thinks that I'm doing it right, and that seeing that Google likes it. And so it's really new to me, and I probably haven't looked at the analytics correctly to know exactly the before and after results when it comes to that. But I'm sure it's helping.
Oh yeah, it definitely. And you're getting featured in rich snippets. Like, it's very exciting, and that you're getting higher, getting on higher in the search engine and the search results, and it's really exciting. And we had a very exciting virtual party when how-to schema became a thing, and we knew that all our how-to bloggers and our DIYs and crafters and knitters and everyone were going to be able to capitalize on this in the way that the food bloggers have been able to for so long. So it's just so exciting to have that option for you guys. So we're almost out of time, which is a real bummer. You guys are sharing so much incredible information. But before we go, I don't want to leave without talking about something that you mentioned, Meredith, which now is that every single search social platform is a video platform. And I want to talk about how you're creating content and video content for the different platforms. And I know that, Kristen, you also had some great experience at Pinterest recently that you'll be able to share with our audience. So if you guys will talk about that, let's actually start with Kristen. Go ahead and start and talk about your Pinterest experience, and then we'll go to Meredith too.
Okay, great. So Pinterest video, we've all talked about that's out, it's available. I've been using it to the max and seeing amazing results. And coincidentally, I was invited to the Pinterest headquarters for their annual employee conference. So I had an all-day creator day with all of the engineers of all of the departments. It was somewhat of a focus group for them to hear exactly from us, you know, what's working and what's not, but they also gave us lots of inside information. We went out to dinner afterward. Ben, the CEO, was there. I was able to meet him. Yeah. And his mom's a knitter, so that was fun to talk to him about that.
Cool.
And so this is straight from the video engineers of what they see being successful right now with Pinterest video. And so first off, it is the length. They say 6 to 20 seconds in length. Quick cuts. And the camera angle, hands down, they're seeing better results instead of straight on with the how-to, just looking with the camera, looking right down. Food, DIY, beauty are the front runners as far as what's performing best. And the vertical, that 2:3 ratio vertical orientation is what's performing best. He said that they receive more than twice as many square, because that's what all of us created for Facebook and already had in our pocket. But what's actually performing on Pinterest is to take that time and do that vertical orientation. And so I've been doing that, and I think I have like 500 videos on Pinterest right now, and they're driving a lot of traffic for me. And I'm excited now that I've spent this year doing that to see, once my knitting season kicks in and the high RPMs kick in, exactly how that's going to pan out too. But I've been really happy with Pinterest video.
Amazing. Meredith, same to you with all the different social video requirements that are happening now. If you've got any insight on that, we'd love to hear about it.
Yeah. So what I do and what I teach my clients is to edit your main platform first. So for me, it's YouTube. And then you don't necessarily have to re-edit that for the different platforms. You can just repurpose that into a vertical video, like for Pinterest 2 to 3, or for IGTV, and use your audience to kind of guide you in what they would want to see from you. Especially when it comes to Instagram and IGTV, I think we're still up in the air of whether IGTV is like a thing that's here to stay, but I keep seeing more and more people using it consistently. And so, so you don't necessarily have to like create 4 different versions, create your one version, keep it simple, and just repurpose it in that other format, in the vertical format. And you can also, I don't usually see people doing this. I'm not sure why. I wish they would do this, but if you do a Facebook Live vertical or Instagram Live or something specifically for IGTV, you can repurpose that into a landscape video for YouTube or for Facebook or, you know, whatever platform. You can do that just the same as you can go from landscape to vertical. You can go from vertical to landscape, so that you can repurpose everything that you create.
That's great. And very exciting to hear that you're not having to do 4 or 5 different versions of everything that you are taping, because that's very helpful to know. So are there any, we're already out of time, but I'm going to have you guys, if there are any direct links that you have that'll be helpful for our audience, where they can find you if they want to talk to you further, and just any top video resources that you guys provide yourselves that you might want to direct our audience to. And I'm going to give you a second to think about that while I do a quick announcement that we're pushing, as I said, through the Summer of Live. We have 4 more weeks left after this. Cannot believe that we're already all the way into August. But as we're focusing on monetization and making it rain this month, we have next week, we're on Wednesday next week, which is August 7th, and we're at 2 p.m. CST and 3 p.m. in Eastern Time. And we're talking about affiliate marketing strategies. We're going to have Mediavine publisher Amanda Williams from A Dangerous Business on, and she's an affiliate ace. And then we've got my friend Janine Crooks of AWIN talking all about affiliate marketing all week next week. We're very excited about it. Quickly, before I get your last comments, Bobette Kyle said, Kristen, I watched your video you did for Simple Pen Collective this morning. She said it was super helpful. She said, thank you.
wonderful. Oh, that's great to know. Yay. I'm glad it's out there. Great.
We have so many people fangirling on you guys this week. You're both pretty amazing. And I couldn't have asked for better and more informative guests. You guys are fantastic experts. And I feel like we could have talked for another 3 hours getting more tips from you. But I sure appreciate you coming by the Summer of Live. Thank you so much. And please give us your final words and your final links before we sign off. Well, I'm sorry, Meredith, please go first.
So you can find me pretty much if you search for VidProMom on any of the platforms, you'll find me. The Video for Bloggers Facebook group is kind of a home base for video for bloggers. And since we were just talking about repurposing content, I have a social video blueprint that is like a printable thing. You can get some ideas for what it would look like if you took a landscape video and made it horizontal for the different platforms. And you can grab that at socialvideoblueprint.com. And yeah, just find me anywhere if you search for VidProMom.
VidProMom. We've shared a lot of links in here for you guys, but Social Video Blueprint, is that an actual URL, Social Video Blueprint?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, let's share that. And then also we're going to share, I know you had Amber, our co-founder, Amber Bracegirdle, on your podcast. And so we'll share that as well. So we'll share those links. Kristen, what about you? Where can we find you and what do you recommend?
So you can Google Studio Knit. My URL is StudioKnitSF for SanFrancisco.com. Okay. However, I recently acquired the regular Studio Knit, but I haven't done anything with it. So just Google Studio Knit for all things knitting, because that's what I offer. Okay. And I, as far as learning more about my video journey and additional tips and tricks, I talk a lot about Pinterest video on the Simple Pin podcast I was on a couple of months ago. Okay. So you can search for that. It's like, does video really work on Pinterest? You betcha, I think is the title. And Kate is my absolute guru who, I attribute all of my website and Mediavine success with her enlightening me about Pinterest. And if you would like a Pinterest video inspiration, just head on over to my Pinterest and there's the video tab and you'll see all of the videos that I have. And, I just took those old videos from 5 years ago and kind of, rejiggered them into those little quick cuts that Pinterest really likes. And they're driving so much traffic to those old blog posts for me right now. So check that out. And, please feel free to email me or find me on social.
Fantastic. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us. The VidProMom, Meredith Marsh, and Kristen McDonnell of Studio Knit. You guys are fantastic. I appreciate it. And you guys have a wonderful day. And for our audience too, have a fantastic weekend. And we'll see you next week for affiliate marketing.
Thanks, Jenny.
Bye.